Greetings everyone, this is Mike, the Chili Dog pilot. We're in the Tomahawk and I'm getting ready to do the pre-takeoff checks. And then we're going to take a quick VFR flight up to Blairstown, New Jersey on this Sunday evening. I'm going to break this trip into 2 videos, and then the next video we'll do a RNAV approach back into Doylestown. So sit back, relax, let me do the pre-flight run-ups, and then we will talk more once we're airborne.
Alright, all the checklists are done, we're back on the map. We're going to go up to Blairstown, do a landing there, and turn around and come back. And we'll be good. We've got some deer off to the side of the runway, so just keeping an eye out on those little guys, because that would not be a fun way to start a flight. Okay, I think the engine's kind of getting there to the point of being warm. So we'll go landing light on. Fuel pump on, mixture full rich. Doylestown traffic, Tomahawk departing runway 23 will be a northeast departure off the downwind, Doylestown. Okay, power's full. All the other engines are in the green. And the airspeed is active. There's 55. We're going to roll it off. A little bit gusty once you get above the surface area. Okay, 250, climate at 70 knots. $800 feet. Everything's looking good on the pressure side of it. We're at 250 heading. There's 1,000 feet. Go 350, 3,500 on the climb. Okay. Doylestown traffic, Tomahawk turning left crosswind, runway 23 will be departing off the downwind to the northeast.
Doylestown traffic, zone 34, Alpha uniform. Is departing runway 23, remaining in pattern, Doylestown.
Doylestown traffic, Tomahawk is turning left downwind, runway 23. We'll be departing to the northeast, Doylestown. And Doylestown traffic, Tomahawk is departing to the north-northeast, Doylestown. Okay, we're 2,100 for 3,500. Okay, so greetings aviators and aviation fans. It's Mike, the Chili Dog pilot. Just want to welcome you again to another flight with me. We're on the Tomahawk. We're just doing a local flight, or a relatively local flight. We're just going up to Blairstown, New Jersey.
Doylestown traffic, 734 Alpha Uniform is turning left, crosswind for runway 23 Doylestown.
And the plan is just to do a landing there and then work our way back down to Doylestown.
Hey, Alpha U at Doylestown. Are the winds favoring 2-3?
It's mostly across them, but it looks like it's kind of in between, probably more favoring 5 right now.
You guys want to switch runways?
Yeah, we can switch runways after this land in the pattern.
Roger. So we'll be coming in on the left downwind 23. We're currently about 7 miles out from the east, northeast.
Alright, roger that. We're in the left downwind right now.
Sorry, I meant to say runway 5 at Doylestown.
Okay, so anyways, we're on our way up to Blairstown, and we'll do just a nice little trip up there. Normally I go to Blairstown. If I go to Blairstown, it's usually for breakfast. They have a nice little airport restaurant, and so it's a nice place to go up there. There's also a lot of glider activity and some neat airports, airplanes flying into the airport off and on. So nice local flight. It's about 49 miles, so this gives a chance for the engine to get a nice warm up as well. This goes out to all of you watching. I appreciate you taking the time to watch these shows, and hopefully, you know, it drives some interest, whether it's just to settle your interest in aviation, or if it's maybe convincing you to get into aviation. Please continue to give me feedback. It helps me shape the show. As I mentioned in the very first video that I posted, I'm not entirely sure what my format is. You know, I'm seeing some things that seem to get more attention than others, whether it's, you know, just kind of some of the flying and sightseeing stuff, or if it's you know, some of the instrument flying. And I think that is probably, at least for me, that would be more interesting, because you know, as an instrument pilot, I like to watch how other people do things, maybe critique it a little bit, but it's all, you know, I think it's all for the good. So anyway, yeah, give me feedback if you can do so. So anyway, we're en route to Blairstown. We're just starting to cross the river over into New Jersey. Blairstown is like right up against the hills as you work your way to the Poconos. I had one other video which I can't remember, I haven't posted yet, but I was trying to do a morning flight to Blairstown to grab breakfast, and unfortunately, with my luck, the one amount of clouds, a small little patch of clouds, was right on the approach end of the airport, and so I ended up going around because I couldn't break through there. I had contemplated flying the reverse approach. From the windsock standpoint, it looked like the wind on the surface was pretty calm, but you know, at airborne at 1,000 feet at least, it was a pretty decent tailwind, and I didn't think that was a smart choice. So I ended up just aborting and coming back to Doylestown. Okay, we're about 17 miles from.
We're going to bring it back around down the runway and let you have a good look. Do you have any chocks with you?
Okay, so we're going to bring it down.
After we land, we may not have nosewheel steering. We're not going to be sure until we land. So after we land, if that's the case, we're going to have to stop the aircraft on the runway. And if we get a and shock us, and then we're going to have Westar come and taxi tell us in. Thanks, brother.
Okay, it looks like someone's having a little bit of a issue there.
We'll check that 645 to latitude, left base to final, runway 10, staying in black traffic.
So anyway, we're about 16 miles from Blairstown.
Foxtrot Golf, 4 miles straight on final runway 29er, looking for the crossing of pattern on the VOR 29 Bronzo.
We're going to cross midfield. If there's no traffic as we get closer, I'm just going to do a direct entry to the downwind. If there is traffic, we will overfly and circle back to a 45-degree entry. This is often a debate that I hear amongst a lot of the instructors and YouTube folks out there. So,
how do they look, dude? You seeing all three?
Cross the traffic, Warrior A1 Lima upwind.
Sounds like someone's having a landing gear issue and possibly knows we're steering it
here and come in and land then, and then as soon as we kind of get control of things on the runway, I'll let you know if you need to chop us or not.
But anyways, I think there's a lot of discussion around whether or not
we'll be shooting the VOR for 29
the terminology of using a teardrop entry into a downwind is appropriate or not. A teardrop is typically referred to as a holding pattern entry, but you know, it's often used to describe, you know, flying over an airport, crossing above and over the downwind, and then turning back around to enter at a 45-degree angle.
Hey, it's expect at 645. Yeah, you can keep working this way, buddy. We're coming around into downwind. How far out are you?
Just west of the field right now. I can take either one way. It doesn't matter because the wind's calm.
Tell you what, it would help us out a lot if you shot into 10 and got on the ground. That would be great. We'll just kind of widen out our pattern and give you time, because if we land and I need them to tow me in, the airplane might be on the runway for a bit, so let's get you in first.
We're not at first.
Okay, good coordination there. So anyways, the conversation is whether, you know, a teardrop entry terminology is the correct terminology for a VFR pattern entry into an uncontrolled airfield. I tend to agree with the thought that we should not use the term teardrop entry, even though it's become pretty ubiquitous now amongst people flying. It seems like that's what a lot of the students are referring to as. Again, as I mentioned, the teardrop entry is usually reserved for the type of entry you would do into a holding pattern. Now, what the ACS does, not the ACS, but you know, what the advisories do suggest is when entering uncontrolled airfield, the best entry is on a 45-degree entry into the downwind. So typically, what I would announce if I'm making that type of entry is I would announce that I'm flying over the field and give the altitude at which I'm overflying the field, and then I would come back around and enter the downwind. I'm trying not to use the teardrop terminology, even though everybody does it. But then I will just basically announce that I'm entering a 45-degree entry to the downwind to base, whatever. In a situation like this, if there's not a lot of traffic out there, I will probably just go ahead, fuel pump's on, fuel pressure's good. Okay. What I'll do is just do a direct entry. That is also allowed. You know, the one downside to that is if there's other traffic, you know, there's always a chance of a mid-air collision, because if you're not paying attention to other airplanes on downwind, you could have an intercept situation. And, you know, it's always something to be aware of, you know, especially someplace like Blairstown, because it's well outside of Class Bravo. There may be airplanes that are operating without any ADS-B and or radios, so that also puts you at potential risk of running into them. So as I'm talking through this, I think probably the best thing to do is just fly overhead midfield, kind of assess who's out there, who's not out there. We'll swing around and do a 45 entry to the downwind, then enter the pattern that way. So that way, if there is any traffic without radios or ADS-B, we're not creating any type of collision hazard. And as I mentioned earlier, Blairstown is a place where they do a lot of glider activity, so it's something to be aware of. I think this time of day, there's probably not a lot, since you're kind of getting towards the end of the day. Those thermals are probably dying out.
Okay, so here's the diagram out of the AC90-66 Bravo, which is the non-towered airport flight operations circular. And this shows the two allowed entries into the pattern when coming from opposite the downwind leg side.
All right, so after all that rambling on about proper radio calls, let's go ahead and make our first radio call here into Blairstown, since we're about 10 miles out, and let them know what our intentions are. Blairstown traffic, Tomahawk is 8 miles or 8.5 miles to the south. We're going to cross over midfield and then circle around to enter the downwind for runway 7, Blairstown. Okay, so it was that simple for the radio announcement. So right now I'm just en route, trying to shut down some of the vents. It's cooling off. Anyways, so the plan here is just to go ahead and cross midfield. We'll continue north. There's a little bit of a ridge line you can see off in the distance there. We'll cross over that and then fly a little bit northeast, kind of paralleling the runway and the downwind legs, and then we'll re-enter on the 45. Like I say, it's a beautiful day for flying. We got about a 12-knot headwind right now, at least a quartering headwind, but very beautiful out. We got a nice high layer of clouds and right at sunset, so it's always a nice time to fly. Want to get a flight in today. It's a Sunday. I'm actually traveling for work. I'm going to be on the road from Monday through late Friday, so I'm not going to be able to, get airborne again until next Saturday. So if I didn't go today, it was going to be almost, it's going to be much longer time than I'd like to not fly for myself as well as for the airplane. All right, I got the runway or the airport in sight. I can see the hangar, some of the hangars on the complex and the opening there. So like I said, we're shooting for midfield. We'll cross over midfield at 3,500. I believe the traffic pattern altitude here is 1372, so we'll call that 1400. So as we circle around to re-enter the downwind, we will descend to that altitude. Okay, we're 1 mile from the airport. I bugged the runway heading is 070, so that way we can take a 1 minute leg in that direction after we cross midfield and clear the downwind leg area. So after about 2 miles. Once we get 2 miles from the airport, we will track that and then re-enter on the 75. I'm not sure how well the 360 is catching the hilltop along there, but there's a little bit of a break, so that's kind of a good area kind of make that approach. And Blairstown traffic, Tomahawk is crossing midfield at 3,500. We're going to continue north and then swing around and come back to enter the downwind for runway 7, Blairstown. Okay, so I'm going to dial in the traffic pattern altitude of 1400. We have that as a reference point for when we descend. Okay, so the runway is 1 mile behind us, so we'll go 1 more mile and then start our circle to enter the 45. Okay, so there's 2 miles, so we'll go ahead and make a right turn, kind of head in the northeast direction, just to get ourselves set up for a 45. I'm going to go ahead and start to pull back the power, because we also want to get down to traffic pattern altitude. Got quite a few bodies of water here. It looks like there's a little tent off there to that little pond or what have you on top of that hilltop. Pretty cool. Okay, we're gonna go fuel pump on. We're gonna increase the mixture. We got landing lights on, and we have the pattern altitude dialed into capture. Okay, so on that note, we're going to go ahead and make a right turn, re-enter pattern. We're going down 500 feet a minute, and I lost the runway. Oh, there it is. And Blairstown traffic, Tomahawk is 4 miles northeast on a 45 entry to the downwind, runway 7, Blairstown. Okay, fuel pump is on, mixture's full range. One of the landmarks I look for on the 2-5 direction of the airport is a couple playing fields, so I can see the softball field there. So when you're making your approach to that side, it will you'll basically fly over that for your final. So we're still a little high, so we're on our descent, and we're coming up to midfield, so I'm going to go ahead and turn to 250. We get ourselves established on the downwind. And Blairstown traffic, Tomahawk is midfield, left downwind, runway 7, Blairstown. Bit of a crosswind. Looks like there might be a little bit of a tailwind, but I think we're good. We'll go ahead and power down to 1500. We're at 80 knots, so we'll go 1 notch of flaps, and we'll begin our descent. So we'll parallel the numbers. Blairstown traffic, Tomahawk is turning left base, runway 7, Blairstown. Okay, we're still doing 73 knots, so we're good on approach speed. And we'll turn final. And Blairstown traffic, Tomahawk is turning final, runway 7, Blairstown. Okay, go full flaps, we're still at 70.
Well, as always, I appreciate you joining me on this flight. I hope you enjoyed the scenery, the discussion, especially the dusk-lit night as we landed here at Blairstown. In the next video, we'll do the return trip where I will also practice an RNAV 2-3 approach into Doylestown. But until then, I wish you have a great day and hope to see you soon. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and recommend it to others.